Welcome everyone. I'm Tracy Shawn and I'm going to show you how to make a paper snowflake. First, the most important thing, so stop laughing cameraman, is to start with a square sheet of paper. Now here in the States, we have this letter size. It's a funky 8.5 by 11. This won't work, but there's an easy trick to turn this into a square piece of paper. But if you're somewhere else and you already have a square piece of paper, great. Otherwise, this will work for any rectangular sheet of paper. Convert this into a square. Take the top right corner of your sheet, fold it down so that the line becomes parallel with the edge of the paper here. You see that? And here's a trick that I like to do. I like to line up the points, and it looks like it's going to be even before I make any of the creases. When I make the crease, I run out to the middle and then go from the middle out to the left and right. And we have a nice clean line here on the edge of the paper. Obviously this isn't a square yet. You have this extra flap here. You can fold that in using the previous fold as a crease. Fold this in, and I'm going to make this a tight crease. You could either cut this flap off now that you've marked it with scissors, or what I like to do is to make this a very good clean thing. I use my fingernails to make it tight. I open it back up and I take my hands and I push. Come on over and look at this. I start the edge of it with my fingers, and there it started here. And then I put my whole hands on it and move it out to the side, and off comes the sheet of paper. Sometimes it likes to tear right at the end, so I keep my fingers there and off it comes. It's a pretty good clean line. And now we have a square sheet of paper with a diagonal crease. Take that, fold that crease back in so that you have a triangle. Pythagorean? No. Isosceles? No. I don't know what kind of triangle it is. Anyway, triangle of 2 equal sides, coming from folding a square in half. We'll fold this in half again along the long edge, take it over to the top. I'm going to line up the points first, and this paper is crunching up here, so I'm going to pull this out until it becomes nice and round, and then I'm going to readjust the points here, push it down at the edge, and then push it out along that edge. And that's pretty good. It's not perfect. Paper doesn't line up exactly right, but that's all right. It's close enough for this. Now that we've got this is the very tricky part. Now that we have this triangle that has been folded in half and in half again, we want to fold this in thirds. And without using a ruler, we can do this pretty well by eye. What you want to do is that when you fold this over, come on over and look down, is that you want to create something that looks like 2 even triangles. And I like to sort of hide the rest of the paper and see where is that half. And I say that's looking pretty good. It may not be perfect, but I'm going to go ahead and press down the crease this down, and here's the test. Can I fold this in then and have it line up with the other edge? And it did. That was actually pretty good. So we have a good, nice, tight triple fold here out of our bigger triangle, a fold in on a third and a fold in on this third. It's important to do this third thing. You could do a snowflake by just folding it in half again, but then you're going to have a weird looking 8-pointed snowflake star, and I've never seen an 8-pointed snowflake. So, water is funny that way. Now we have this, which looks like a Star Trek insignia. I'm a Pandora captain. Anyway, some of the more interesting snowflake techniques would use some of this edge here if you want. But for now, for this demonstration, we're going to go ahead and cut this clean off of the edge here. And now we have our base form that we are going to begin to cut on. No more folding now, but what I like to do so that we have a nice clean cutting edges is to use the other side of the scissors and press down hard on the edge and really create a tight crease here so that we have something flat. Sometimes I also like to use these little binder clips to hold it together to to really do it. And if I'm getting very intricate and I want to make sure things aren't sliding around, I'll have 3 or 4 of these all lined up. Well, I'm going to start. One thing you can know about this is going to be the center of your snowflake, and these will be the points. And depending on how we cut, the mirror image of this will become a pattern of points around the snowflake. So with that in mind, I want to create one long spike and one short spike. So the way I do that is to just cut in at a diagonal. There's no real rule about how to do it. I obviously don't want to cut all the way across because then I would lose my other point. I turn a little bit and cut straight into here. This is a little thing that I like to do, is to cut almost to the entire end because I don't want to cut too far and have unneeded cuts. This is a hanging chad. If anybody remember what a hanging chad is. Now I'm going to pull this out. Boom. Okay, so we've got a nice cut here. This is a funny looking shape. Sometimes I like to look at the lines that I cut just randomly and then go off of that pattern. So a little bit of randomness helping set the pattern here. I'm going to cut into this. I'm not going to cut all the way across because I don't want to lose this point. And once I've got that cut, I'm going to come in like this. Cut almost all the way, pull that off. We've got that. An important thing when you're cutting the pieces here is that when you've got this triangle, you don't want to cut the entire edge off at any one point. So like if I cut all the way up here, or if I cut all the way this way, because your snowflake will just fall apart. It won't be one piece of paper. Now that I've got this, I'm going to look, what do I want to do with this? Well, I'm going to follow these lines that I have going here and go straight up into this and cut another triangle out this direction. I have this, and let's say I might want to cut and sort of follow that pattern, but nah, I'm not. I'm going to do just something really funky and do a curve cut up into this and a little bit of that. That was kind of weird, and maybe I'll do a little internal triangle cut there and maybe another small one here. And sometimes you can cut off the bottom tip of the snowflake. If you want the middle of your snowflake to be solid, don't cut off the tip. But if you want the middle of your snowflake to have a hole in it or to be hollow in the middle, then go ahead and cut it off. So I'm going to cut off this tip like that. And I think that's all I'm going to do, just for the sake of demonstration. There's the extra little chads that fell out there. Now, to reveal your snowflake, I like to do it one unfold at a time so that I can flatten out the creases. So I open it up once, and I do a little bit of a reverse crease so that this crease here will flatten itself out. I open up the next one. We've got a quarter of a snowflake. Open it up again, unfold these creases. Now we have half of a snowflake, and open up the rest of the way, reverse crease these, and we have a snowflake with some interlocking patterns here. We have a star in the middle, looks like some sort of Pokemon character going around. I don't know what it is. So sometimes you're going to be surprised about what you cut, especially if you do some funky little patterns like that. Now, this was pretty easy. It took me just a few minutes. Earlier in the day, I did a few others. I'll show you some examples of variations of different kinds of snowflakes. Here's another one with sort of the interlocking patterns that I like to do when I follow those line patterns through. Here's one with some neat little half moon pattern that I figured out how to do. And then this one, I don't really like this one too much, but it's all right. And that's it. So the material you need are a very good pair of scissors. I like these with the multi. You can put 2 fingers in one. It's got this nice angle, but it's also very tight, so I can do some good cuts. If you like to use binder clips to help keep it stable, and obviously paper. Origami paper works really great. You can use any size. You can also use tabloid size paper if you want to do a really huge snowflake. And that is it. So thanks everyone for tuning in.